Hey everyone, welcome back to Godot Dev Checkpoint. Godot 4.6 just dropped today, and it brings some massive improvements that directly target some games that we've already made on this channel, specifically the 3D atmospheric horror like the Backroom series, and high-performance 2D survivor games like the roguelite one we made. Now let's break down what actually changed, and then we'll go into the ones that specifically target this channel. Now over here on the release website, you can go check this out for yourself. I'll link it in the description, but we can scroll down and take a look. The first thing is the actual engine itself. The look to it is the minimal theme by default now. That's been available for a while, or last year, but now it's the default look. And if you see the difference here, here's the old school, blue kind of square look as compared to the now minimal rounded edges look. You can also change the dock. If you want to make float, you can float these docks around now and move them wherever you like. If you exit out, it'll go back down into the actual editor again itself. So that's handy. Overall, looks great. Now, the other main things you can see change is the actual physics engine. Now by default, it uses the AAA physics engine Jolt. So that's going to help tremendously with some 3D tutorials we'll do in the future. And there's the dock section. And this 3D actually is going to help with all of this inverse kinematics too, which is now back in this engine. Now, Game from Scratch did a deep dive into these two, and I guarantee that you'll want to check that out if you want to get into the 3D work. And for something like our Backrooms tutorial, this reflections and SSR overhaul really can increase your atmosphere, make things look a lot more realistic. And we have a lot of general stuff, nodes remembering, Godot as a library, and make it more of a hybrid application, like it says. That's real specialized, so not everyone's going to be interested in that, but it's there if we need it. Or some 2D stuff. Now you have instance tiles. You can actually rotate those individually. Now it can be helpful. 3D are things like decoupling of the transform and select nodes, so you can move things around easier. There's some specialty stuff like the Bresenham line algorithm. You got this nice new spinnable gizmo though. That's nice. I do like this pivot placement because that's actually comes in handy quite a bit. You know, a lot of quality of life stuff like the click focus and the zero margins errors. You can deep dive into those if you like. And a lot of behind the scenes editor stuff. Really cool. And drag and drop, you can actually drag and drop your meshes and scenes into new scenes. Like here, if you drag it and hold it over the tab, it actually changes the tab. Just like that. Pretty cool. And then I really like this live preview stuff. You can actually preview what it's going to look like on screen itself. It's really handy, so you don't have to actually put it in. See you don't like it, put in a different one, especially the typography stuff. And dragging our animations, that's good. That's actually really nice too, to keyframe it or select our frames per second kind of thing with mathing out anything. And the patch and play, and then I like this color one where you can actually change the PS5 controller with this simple line of code. It might get me a PS5 controller hooked up so I can just test it out. This glow one's really nice too. Nice glow effect. Really going to improve the lighting and the atmospheric things like the Backrooms one we did. Here's some actual contrasting we can see before and after. And actually this is the mobile one. It gets rid of those line waves and the reflections, or I guess they call it banding. Yeah, it's nice. If you're doing mobile stuff, that's cool. A lot of other mobile stuff. One of the other bigger things, especially if you're on Windows, is the fact that Direct3D 12 is now the default. And it's on par with Vulkan, as they say. So it's going to be better for stable driver support and those kind of things. I like this too, where the actual collision shape actually match your mesh without having to manually do it. That's going to be really nice. Save a lot of time. And now we got JSON, if you're interested in that. There's some debugging stuff is all cool, and profilers that you can deep dive into what's slowing your thing down or making it better. And some more quality of life stuff like the placeholder highlighting. But how does this all affect you? Well, there's a cool website, the GDQuest. They actually link it on the release website. Let's check it out. So right here above the general section, you'll see this GDQuest free library. You can actually explore what those all of these changes mean for you. So if you want to update your project and see if you should or if it matters, this is a good way to do that. And this is the website here. You can go over what changes mean for your projects. Now, three biggest things that we've done on this channel that might have this new engine affect that. Well, Jolt Physics, first one, big for 3D devs. Jolt Physics is now the default physics engine in Godot 4.6. So So if you've been building walking simulators or first-person games, you know that standardizing on Jolt is a big win. So it generally offers much more stable character controllers and better performance for complex collisions right out of the box. For anyone starting a new 3D project, you no longer need to hunt down the add-ons just to get rock-solid physics behavior. Now it's the default. So for the 2D side of things, we have a game changer really. It's a batching support for the Forward Plus and the mobile renderers. This is specifically huge for the survivor-like roguelike games or anything with massive sprite counts. Previously, to get the good performance with thousands of enemies, you often had to stick to the compatibility renderer. Now with 4.6, Godot now batches draw cells in the high-end renderers too. This means you can finally use those fancy high-end lighting and glow effects without actually sacrificing the ability to render massive hordes of enemies. It removes a major bottleneck for the genre. And finally, atmosphere. Now the screen space reflections have been completely overhauled. Now this is critical for horror games or liminal space environments like the Backrooms one we did. The new implementation handles roughness and wet surfaces significantly better than before. Now, it gets rid of a lot of the visual noise on damp carpets or tiles, which is going to make the environment feel much more grounded and realistic. Now, paired with the new modern editor theme, it cleans up a lot of the UI quite a bit. So Godot is looking and feeling a lot better to use. Now, there's a ton more in the changelog that we glossed over, but those 3 features that jumped out at me for the types of projects that we've built here so far. Now, I'm curious to hear from you. Are you planning to migrate your current projects to 4.6 right away? Or are you going to wait for a patch or two? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you at the next checkpoint.